What's going on, team? Hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday so far. Just dropping in to do a live Q&A. So if you are joining me live, make sure you ask your questions. I do have a couple questions that have already been asked, and I want to make sure that I can answer those. But then also, if there are any live questions, we can address those as well. So yeah, again, hope everyone is doing well on this fine Thursday. Pretty good weather here in Atlanta after a lot of rain. We've had a lot of rain lately. But also, hope everyone's rocking the jammies if you're working from home, because I am enjoying it. But yeah, so a couple questions that have been asked of me is if I am going back into the gym yet to do in-person training, and I am not currently going to do that. In my own opinion, I don't think that it is in the best interest of myself or my clients. So I want to make sure that we do a good job of social distancing and physical, more so physical distancing at this current time. And we're going to get back to training when we get the all clear. And when that happens, I will be just as excited as everybody else. But yeah, so I have received a couple questions specifically pertaining to the 30 for 30 group. So that is an ongoing group for the foreseeable future. I would recommend you join at the beginning of it so that you can begin the progression with everyone. But honestly, it's your timeline. It's your time. You do with it what you will. You don't have to do all the workouts. You can do some of them. You will be doing all the workouts from home. So like I'm going to be doing them, from in here for the most part, probably right there where I've been doing all the last couple days. And yeah, so hopefully you guys can get the most out of that. And if you want to join later, that's cool too. I would recommend joining early, but totally your call. But that being said, I do have, where's this question? So got asked this question the other day and definitely want to address it about, will lifting weights make me bulky? And a lot of that is going to be determined by the consistency and the type of lifting that you do. Also, how much energy you're taking in to gain size and strength. And yeah, so if you think that after a month of lifting that you'll get bulky, chances are that is not going to happen. It takes a lot of time. If you've seen those big bodybuilders, like they've been doing this, they've been lifting like that for probably decades. I've even been lifting for decades, but I'm not, I don't look like a balloon. Sorry to anyone who likes, that's not for me. So there you go. But yeah, so lifting weights will not make you bulky. Your muscles will repair and recover themselves. Should you take in more energy to increase muscle mass, then yes, and you increase the load of which you're lifting, and with progressive overload and greater stressors, your body will adapt to those stressors so that it can get larger. But no, after a month of lifting or even a year of lifting, you will not look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Unless you're already like close to that. You just won't do that. But yeah, another question, should I work out under stress? Honestly, that's kind of in my opinion, that's a very hit or miss. For myself, I've been very stressed lately, whether it's emotional, financial, mental, what have you. So actually, I have not really been working out the last couple days. I mean, I've done a couple things here and there. I'll maybe play a video game and do some squats while I do it, or do some lunges when I walk to the other room. But other than that, like if you're so stressed out that it stresses you out to think about working out, I would say just try 5 minutes. Try 5 minutes of, some core work or some just general walking. And if you don't feel like doing it, stop. There's your day. You did 5 minutes. That was what worked for you, and be good with it. Be okay with it. You don't have to do an hour long workout all the time. If you can't do an hour, do 45 minutes. If you can't do 45 minutes, do 30. Can't do 30, 15, 15, 10, 10, 5. Honestly, we don't have to be in a bucket full of sweat and just drenched on the ground in a pool of our own blood and no pain, no gain. It's a bunch of crap. It's actually really unhealthy to try and do that all the time. No, that's not to say that there aren't those who train to be able to do those things where they can push their body to the absolute limit. However, for the general population, we don't need to be sweating and completely exhausted and can't walk out of the gym. So, as it pertains to stress, if you are not in a place where you can really handle, an enormous amount of volume, just work in smaller chunks. Just like with goal setting, 5 minutes at a time it can create, life-changing results. And, we really want to make sure that we can achieve our goals and that we don't get just so overwhelmed by them, but we're able to do, one good thing easily and just keep chipping away at it. And this is coming from someone who I have a lot of stress because there's a lot of things that I want to do and have goals for, but then I do too much. Thankfully, I now have a Buckingham Fitness team. They are awesome. I love each and every one of them. They are really, really, really great people. They make me better. I hopefully don't bring them down too much. I hope that I do a good job of being a leader and letting them know like what I want. And then they can, with their professional experience, they can come back in and let me know what could work better. And we do a really great job of being a team. So I'm very thankful for them. But yeah, okay. Next question. How important is nutrition? You can't out-train a bad diet. Some people can get away with it for a very long time, but it does catch up with you. If you are on a quote unquote bad diet, imagine what you would be doing or how you'd be performing or how you would feel if you were on a better diet. And that's not to say that there are bad foods. Food is energy. Our body, converts food into energy. We basically repurpose and convert energy from one thing to another. So there's not necessarily bad energy. There's better energy than others. But that's not to say that, if I have a burger from McDonald's, I'm completely ruined. That's not true at all. It's just, would potentially a salad with really lean chicken be better than a Big Mac from McDonald's? Most would argue that it is more nutritious. And judging by the nutrient density of each of those foods, many would argue that yes, it is in fact more nutritious. But not everybody can eat all organic and oh my gosh, but what about this and that? And if I'm not eating, the $12 salad versus the $1, like just do your best. Try to prioritize whole foods. Think about eating slower, and really just be conscious of what you're eating instead of when we're bored. Like I know for me, I'm a very emotional eater, and when I'm just kind of bored, I'm like, oh, what's in the fridge? Oh, hey, it's been 2 minutes. What's in the fridge? Oh, hey, that cycle. So when we slow down, we allow our body to in our gut, we actually have our own nervous system. So that gut feeling that we get is a very real thing. And it sends signals, to our central nervous system that will allow us to communicate like, hey, if you're full, sometimes we eat so fast that we can't even process, hey, we're full. And then you're like, food belly, because we try to eat so fast, or we do eat so fast. So yes, nutrition is incredibly important. But if you really just try and focus your sights on just one goal this week of, hey, I'm going to try to eat all whole foods for a meal, or for the week, or at every meal, hey, I'm going to slow down how fast I'm eating and be more conscious of the food I'm eating. Because that can have compound effects in the future that will really set you up for a lot of success. And then there's another one. When to change a fitness program. So a lot of times, so you have, depending on what you're doing or how you're training, you'll have mesocycles, and those will be filled up with microcycles. So a mesocycle would be like a 3-month to 12-month program. And then you would have microcycle of like 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 4 weeks. However, your trainer or your program is developed. But how often should you change it is really dependent upon, are you still enjoying it? If you don't like what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to sustain it and want to keep doing it. I've had clients come to me and be like, hey, I don't like what I'm doing. It's like, okay, we need to change that. It's a lot easier to continue getting your goals and reaching your max potential when you're enjoying what you're doing, as opposed to dreading it and dreading working out or going to the gym or going to your guest bedroom and doing workouts. If you don't like what you're doing, it's going to be a lot harder to, succeed in it, or at least have the desire to continue to do it to succeed. But as far as a fitness program overall, you really want to make sure that there is progression in it, and that you give it enough time to really see if it works. Some people are like, hey, it's been a week. I don't have any results. It's been a week. Okay. And then, there's so many different variables that play a part. Genetics, gender, you've got training experience, you have psychological stress, you have social barriers, you have there are so many different variables to every single person, even though we all genetically, it's 99%, 99 point whatever percent people are so alike. Yes, we do have different genetics, but we are so much more alike than we are different. And we all have different backgrounds, but if we don't give something enough time to see if it works, then we need to be more patient. And that's coming from somebody that has impatientitis. That's what my family likes to call it, that we have impatientitis, and we want things fast, and it just doesn't work like that. So give it enough time. I would say if you're not seeing results after a month, then it's definitely something to consider, but also understand what results look like to you, because, oh, hey, I'm not noticing an aesthetic change. Then the conversation becomes, okay, so how is your nutrition? If a fitness program, like if you're lifting more weight, if you're stronger, if you can run faster, if you're not as tired going up the stairs, like those are quantifiable results that you can actively look at and judge versus, well, I don't see a change. I've had many clients tell me, they're like, hey, I don't know if I don't know that I'm getting any stronger. It's like, you literally lifted 40 pounds more this week than you did last week on this specific exercise, which is why a lot of times I will have someone, and typically I do it 2 weeks apart so that people can, if you just squat all the time, you're not letting those muscles repair, replenish, and recover to be able to squat more. So, okay, hey, squat this week. Then, later in the week, we're going to do a lot of lunge variations, work on unilateral strength. So that single leg, the stronger my legs are singularly, one would argue that the stronger they will be together. So, squat here, great. Let's do some lunges. Let's do some different hypertrophic work. And then 2 weeks later, after doing some deadlifts, doing some trap bar deadlifts, some sumo squats, then go back to the squat after 2, 3, 4 weeks, depending on the program, depending on the person that I'm working with. Then it's like, okay, hey, now let's see what we did. Holy crap, we went up 30 pounds. Or in some cases, people have gone up 50, 60, 70 pounds in a month just by working more specifically and training more efficiently for their goals. And also, if you want results, you sometimes you can't just squat to get really great at the squat. You also have to be really great at the lunge, and you have to be great at the deadlift. And that's not to say that the squat wouldn't be your peak, but if you're trying to build a skyscraper instead of building a mountain, you're probably going to topple. So that is just what I would recommend as far as fitness programming goes. And I want to see if there are any questions out there, please reach out, let me know. I'm going to go for another probably 5 minutes if there aren't any questions, and I'll answer one of these ones, and we'll see what happens. Oh, you know what? Somebody asked me about this the other day about cheat days. Cheat days are fine. Cheat days, if you need that day, it's totally fine. Like I'm not privy to them. Like I try to have cheat meals instead of cheat days. When we look at how much energy we are taking in, especially when it comes to, typically people will say, I want to lose 30 pounds rather than I want to gain 30 pounds. Typically the conversations that I have had in my experience have been around, hey, I want to lose weight. I want to do it fast. I want it now. What can I do? First and foremost, be patient. Secondly, start eating slower and being conscious of the food that you're eating. That alone, I know, can really provide dividends, not only from my weight loss journey, but also for a lot of my clients' journeys, and through peer-reviewed research that I've studied where, hey, when we really start looking at, okay, why am I eating all of this food? Okay, am I super stressed? Am I emotionally stressed? Is there something going on in my life that I don't want to deal with? And all of these things are valid, and it's not to say that like I'm not a psychologist. There is a lot of psychology around lifestyle habits and nutritional habits and habits just in general. And so when you can better understand, hey, wow, I just got some really, tough news. Maybe, for my actor friends, maybe you didn't get the role, and you're like, okay, well, there's 10 tacos in the fridge that are ready to get eaten up. I'm gonna eat all of them. Oh, hey, I got a question. Hey, Topher, what's up, man? You just painted your room. It looks dynamite, man. And you moved some stuff around. I'm gonna read his question here. I've fallen back into a routine with my free weights and have been building strength. Do you think it's necessary to buy heavier weights to keep improving, or can I get results doing more reps with current weights? Also, hi there. The first thing I would ask Topher is, what would be your overall goal? There are ways that we can enhance what we have. So like with my body weight series, I've done a lot of tempo work. So Topher, if the goal is for you to, build more muscle mass, then it wouldn't be a bad idea to look at buying heavier weights if finances are a thing right now. Which, I mean, hey, I don't know how everybody's doing, but for me, finances are a thing. So I personally would not buy more weights. You could look at investing in some resistance bands, which bands are phenomenal. It's a process. It's a tool, used for variable resistance, so that if I'm doing a bicep curl, the harder I pull it away from its, vector, the harder I pull, the harder it gets. And so accommodating resistance is one of my go-to modalities of lifting, because they can just be utilized in so many different facets. So Topher, if you do let me know what the goal is, I can better help answer that question. But truly, if your goal is to get more lean and try to lose weight, I would look at a rep range of 8 reps to 20 to 30. If the goal is to develop more strength, you're going to want to look at the rep range of 1 to 8 reps. It all kind of fluctuates, because you probably go 1 to 12. If I was training you, I'd want you, on some days you'd be trying to hit your max in one area, but then on other days, we'd want to work the more hypertrophy and dynamic training than just straight up, got to lift heavy all day, all the time, because the more intensity we put in our workouts, the more time it takes to recover from them. And so if we go to failure all the time, then it just takes that much more recovery. Failure, recovery. And it just takes such a long amount of time for the body to recover and repair. And so if we, do a good amount of intensity in one area and then kind of supplement around it, then we can recover faster. Boom, boom. And so it minimizes the amount of recovery time that we have. Also switching muscle groups. So if you did a lower split and then an upper split, and that means lower body versus upper body training, you will be able to better recover. So he said doing 3 sets of 12 generally, or, until I want to die. I hear that. So one thing, Topher, that I would recommend for you, try and mix that up. Just because it's an easy one to talk about, the bicep curl. If you're doing those at the bicep curl, pause at 90 degrees. So come to 90 degrees and pause and hold that for 5 seconds. Go back down, pause, hold for 5 seconds. Whether that's with the weights that you currently have, or if you want to invest in some resistance bands, by holding that for the 5 seconds, that isometric contraction is going to work all of the stabilizing muscles in your bicep. It's also going to work portions of your tricep. It's going to work essentially this whole area, because you have to hold that position. Normally in day-to-day life, and this is one of the things that I love about the training that I specialize in, functional bodyweight training, or just functional training in general, is moving the body the way that the body is supposed to move. But in day-to-day life, biceps are really more of an aesthetic muscle. They do play a big part in pull-ups and bench press, sure, but typically people are like, I want big arms, I want to do bicep curls. But in our day-to-day lives, we probably do this maybe 3 times a day. All that to say, when we come here, our muscles are not used to stabilizing a position. When I've shown people the assisted isometric squat or single leg tempo squats, when you really 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, like already, I mean, even just doing that on your own, you think about squeezing and pulling through, you can create, I'm shaking right now because I'm creating so much tension in here so that my muscles have to respond. They have to react. And so that alone, Topher, can help you go to probably 3 sets of 6 with a 5-second pause per repetition. That will, and then, maybe the next week you do 3 sets or 4 sets of, I don't know, 15 reps. And then the next week you go back to 3 sets of 10 reps with a 2-second pause. And those are just some of the ways that you can change up the variety in which we lift. If our muscles don't have a different type of stressor, then they have nothing to adapt to. So maybe next time you minimize the rest time. That's really useful. Awesome. I haven't set a goal beyond building strength yet, just trying not to turn into a lump during quarantine. I feel you. I feel you, brother. Well, I do have my 30 for 30 group coming up. It actually starts tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. If you would like to join, I do have a link in the comments. Or if you want I put together a free 30-day body weight series. Any skill level could find benefit from this. I really think that tempo work, especially with the body, is so underutilized. And that's one of the things that I really have, even while I've been doing these workouts, I'm doing them right there with you. And yes, I have been training a specific way for a very long time, but these workouts, I mean, they're awesome. They really, and I'm not saying that because I'm biased to me writing it. That just makes me sound real bad. But it's one of those things like, let's see what the body can do just with the body. No weights, no nothing, just our body. And it's really, it's fun to see, what we're capable of. And yeah, so Topher, I hope that helped. Those are some of the ways that you can change up, how we work out. You have your intensity, how intensely you work out. You have duration, how long you work out, or how long you work a muscle group. You've got your rest periods. So maybe I rest 2 minutes of this through these sets, or maybe just 1.5, 1 minute, 45 seconds, 30 seconds. Topher, you could do some Tabata drills, 20 seconds on a bicep curls, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds. Trust me, by that third set, you're just going to be screaming and wish I had never told you about Tabata workouts. But yeah, team, that's what I have for you today. I hope this was useful. I hope this was beneficial. I'm going to throw this up on YouTube, so if anybody needs to check this out, they can look at it there. I really want to start doing some live weekly Q&As, so if you guys have any questions for me throughout the week, I'm going to be putting them into this Buckingham Fitness community. And as always, I'm really appreciative for all of you, and I just want to make sure that everyone just has some good places to get their information from, because there's a lot of really bad misinformation out there. There's a lot of pseudoscience that's being pushed, and just because something looks good doesn't always make it so. And I want to make sure that you all are getting information from, well, hopefully you would consider me a credible source. Thanks, buddy. You too. And yeah, so just trying to build up our community, make us stronger, more resilient, and healthier all together. And thanks for joining me. We will see you on the next one. 30 for 30 group starts tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. We gonna get it. And then whenever everyone wants to join in, come join the fun. We will catch you guys next time.